advice to young chefs from the age of 16 to sort of 29, 30 is...
Cook your fucking dish and shut your fat mouth!
Or pumpkin, I'll ram it right over your fucking ass.
Have you got enough in there?
So sorry about the old bag.
Where's the lamb sauce? Like that. Shut it!
Yeah, I didn't mean it, actually.
High performance for me is a double-edged sword. I fucking love it. It's dangerous. Very, very few make it. And then when you're on that edge, you understand the consequences when you can't get a high performance. High performance is about relentlessness in my mind.
Let me strive for perfection. Let me perfect my craft.
You get out of it what you put into it.
And you have to be a sponge without insecurity, because the insecurity stops you from learning because you think you're never going to get there.
Having spent the last 30 years mastering my craft, the experience I've gathered and the knowledge I have goes into every dish that gets created.
Hard work was that relentless fifth, sixth gear, standing in front of a tiny team and remaining as an example where you're focusing on their weaknesses, offloading everything you've got, and then still finding gears that the team around you never thought you'd have.
This is Gordon and Stephen. They've both been with me now just over a year, and they both helped me on the fish and the meat and one or two hors d'oeuvres. Right, I didn't realise. Have you gone through twice?
Yes.
Oh, right. So now that's come through, you can see how fine it's actually got. And so now it's ready to be cut and then made into the ravioli. So when you make the ravioli, you've got to make sure that there's no air pockets.
I stood alongside Marco Pierre White, for 2 years, side by side, 16 hours a day, relentless, because I was in that pursuit of perfection. And this guy put food on a plate like Picasso. Yeah. And I wanted to get that level of discipline. And so Marco was up north with some food critic away for the weekend. And for some unknown reason, I can't remember, but he couldn't come back to the restaurant to open it after the holidays. And all of a sudden I was in charge. And he was on the phone every 2 minutes explaining what to do, but I knew what to do, but I'd never been given the reins. And at 22, when you're dropped in the shit like that, it's sink or swim. So I didn't really understand the amount of pressure I was under at that particular time. But what I did see was empty plates coming back from the restaurant. And it was a high-octane, 2 Michelin star establishment, and every customer was licking their lips. Every customer couldn't quite believe how good the food was. And it was that moment, shit, Marco's not here, but what he's given me and taught me, I've just replicated. Now I need to become individual. I need to step away from what he's shown me, and I need to search for my own DNA.
When you get all this knowledge and the advice for young chefs that are excited about opening their own business, don't shoot too high. Restaurants become successful because they cook within the vicinity they're sat within. Don't start reaching for stars and stripes. Focus on your customers, they're your biggest critics. Secondly, keep it local. Become the best bistro. Then after the bistro, take it up a little level. But make sure your customers in the brigade go up with you. Don't stand and shoot too high. It'll come back to bite you on the ass.
I think when you're on that ambitious road, and had the training from Marco to Gavroche to Guy Savoy to Robuchon, I spent some time at Ducasse here. I wanted to strive for 3 stars, because 3 stars Michelin was almost like a sort of an Oscar. That's what it meant. It had that kind of kudos.
I went to work for a guy called Guy Savoy in Paris. He was a 2 Michelin star chef. And when you're working with a chef that's going from 2 to 3, it's the best move because it's the final sort of celebration. They wanted to keep me there because I was a big part of his team, but I wanted to break away and do my own stuff. And so I got back to London, and literally 3 years later, I'd won my 3rd Michelin star before him.
Oh, wow.
And I got the call from him, and he was speaking to me in French, and he was screaming and shouting, and just, he was so excited because I knew that magic he'd given me. I then had to sort of bring the shutter down, turn my back on him, and then then forge my own style.
There's lanes in life, isn't there? And I'm done with that bullshit about stay in your lane. I want to own my lane.
Get out. Put yourself in a strange situation in the middle of Barcelona. Put yourself in the middle of Paris. Put yourself in the middle of Belgium and see what's available. That's amazing how much confidence it gives you. And more importantly, it's great to sort of eat and travel at the same time.
And the turning point for me was becoming French. You go to hell and back to understand what makes the French work so brilliantly. And where food's concerned, they gave birth to fine dining. They put food on the map. And so there was this extraordinary moment in Paris, literally a night before my 23rd birthday, and I got promoted. I was on that stove the next day, rubbing shoulders with the best of the very best, and the penny dropped. And I said to myself, I can do this. Shit, I've got this. And I knew my palate was trained.
I teach them how to taste first before I teach them how to cook, because they don't understand how it tastes to perfection. They shouldn't be cooking it. So let's talk about the taste factors. Close your eyes. Tell me what that tastes of. And so then there's multiple taste tests that is called an education on the palate. And then we go to cook. So they understand what it tastes like at its absolute moment of perfection. Then we're going to cook it. And too many chefs cook first and then they start tasting. No, taste the fucking thing first. Register where we're going with it and then go back.
The last tasting, to be totally honest, wasn't a great success. I know it was the first one, but there were some things across the table that were not good. Insufficient flavour. One particular dish on the starters was a pork dish. And we all know how dangerous it is cooking pork. But this piece of pork was raw and it was served cold. Every 24 hours that go on, this is crucial for us. This is absolute, the most important time to iron out the creases now and to bring it together so we look like a polished act, because I know full well that the Times, the Observer and the Evening Standard have already booked their tables to review the restaurant within 48 hours of opening. And I guarantee on our first night, there's going to be half a dozen food critics in there as well. So yeah, it's big stuff.
I always know when it's a success when we get copied. And that confirms that we're on point.
By other TV shows, borrow your format.
Yeah, in terms of that, I think it's lazy to copy, but when I see others copying us and the team and what they do, that keeps you on your toes. So you move it before it gets stale.
We stay in front of the competition. Restaurant Gordon Ramsay today celebrates 25 years. Restaurants have a shelf life. 72% of them close within the first 3 years. We're 24 years next year at 3-star Michelin. Growing up and watching the destruction that my father was creating, and he taught me in many ways how to become a great father by doing the opposite of what he showed me. And so I was desperate for that chance to get out of that mess and create something special for myself.
I had a horrific injury where I smashed my cartilage, and then all of a sudden, you know, what do? You sit there and get bitter. But I had this little burning desire of this sort of chef, this ambition, and then I sort of channeled that frustration from football into cooking in a way that I just wanted to learn.
The earlier you get dealt a dysfunctional card in life, the fucking better, because it gives you a much stronger hand when you come to play it.
20 years ago, I got dealt a dysfunctional card. My little brother became a heroin addict, and my father became an alcoholic. What do? Do I sit there and join my little brother, or do I become an alcoholic alongside my father? No, I got off my arse. I stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I got on with it. Put my head down, learned a craft, and that's the journey I'm hoping that we're going to go on.
Never fear a storm. Learn to dance in the rain. It's got me through so much shit in my life. I'm so happy when people tell me, be careful, it's stormy out there. I fucking love it.